I feel really lucky that in back-to-back years we've had such amazing thriller suspense anime come out. Last year it was Odd Taxi, which is an anime that has really stuck with me as being one of my go-to recommendations right now. And this year, surprisingly from the exact same studio, we have OLM's Summertime Render. Summertime Render follows Shinpei Ejiro, a young man who grew up on an island just off the coast of Japan, but as a teenager decided to move off to Tokyo to try to seek out a better life. The series opens up though with Shinpei returning back home to attend the funeral of his adopted sister Oshio. Shinpei had been tragically orphaned as a child, his parents both dying under mysterious circumstances, so the kind-hearted Kafune family adopted him in. But soon after Shinpei arrives on the island, he discovers that things aren't exactly what they seem. See, he was told that Oshio died in a tragic accident trying to save a girl who was drowning. But one of his best friends on the island show lets him know that there's something more to this story, because when they did an autopsy on Oshio, they found that she didn't exactly drown. More so, she was strangled. Hand marks and indentations around her neck, making it clear this wasn't her just getting swept up by a current or swallowing in too much seawater. She was murdered. And while Shinpei is struggling to understand that information, something more is happening on the island. People around the island are starting to talk more and more about ancient folklore about shadows, which is a folklore about a mysterious doppelganger who will appear looking exactly like you, and then one day aiming to kill you and your family, replacing them all with other shadows. This, of course, sounds completely ridiculous until one day Shinpei and his other adopted sister Mio stumble upon a woman dying in the woods, bleeding out from a clear gunshot wound in her belly. But it's only when Mio cries out that Shinpei turns around and sees another Mio, holding Mio hostage, but this one with a gun. After being swiftly killed by this evil Mio, Shinpei wakes back up on the ferry back to the island. The mysterious woman he saw dying in the woods alive in a well and sitting in front of him. And it's not long after that Shinpei realizes that he stumbled upon a death loop mechanic. Yeah, this is a death loop anime. This anime kind of feels like a cross between Erased and Re:Zero. Now, I think you might be a little confused why I would say those two anime. Re:Zero seems pretty obvious. It's a looping mechanic anime, just like Summertime Render is. But Erased seems like it kind of already has a looping mechanic in it, because Erased is based off a story of a man going back in time to when he was a child, trying to solve the murder of one of his friends, to then save his mom. It's a whole thing. Erased is great. You should watch Erased if you haven't. But the way in which Summertime Render is different than Erased is that Summertime Render is more focused on its looping mechanic. So the more direct parallel, I think, the thing that will come directly to a lot of anime watchers' mind is going to be Re:Zero. Or hell, you may even think of the sci-fi movie Edge of Tomorrow, which is also based off a manga, which is also really, really good. Death loop mechanics have become such a craze recently, and I'm all for it, really. I think it's a really underutilized type of storytelling. And the resurgence that we've seen from a lot of movies, and especially anime, because I think one of the big things that was the beginning of this bring back was Edge of Tomorrow, which again, as I said, is based off a manga, so it all goes back to manga and anime. But one of the things that's really great about this format is that it allows you to tell a more interesting story with branching pathways. It's something that's also really comparable to video games and different ways that you would replay a story. But going back here, one of the reasons I really want to tie Summertime Render to Erased, more so than its mechanic of going back in time, has more to do with the fact that they're both focused on a singular mystery, and the way that mystery unfolds episode after episode just has a way of hooking you in. If you like thrillers, if you like suspense, if you like mystery, and if you love supernatural things, then Summertime Render has about everything that you're gonna want in an anime. It is beautifully animated by Oriental Light Magic, or OLM, who you may also know from Komi Can't Communicate and Odd Taxi, an anime I mentioned way earlier. Now, it's key to mention Komi Can't Communicate actually in this because they have the same director, Ayumu Watanabe. In my video on Komi Can't Communicate, I talked a lot about the direction in that anime having a very specific feel, trying to encapsulate what the manga was and gag animes are, and interpreting that into a visual format, visual moving format. With Summertime Render though, that doesn't really exist, nor really should it, because it doesn't match what the show wants. This show is much more focused on its setting and surroundings, and the environment that it's trying to immerse you in. And with that, it does an immaculate job. In some scenes, it makes you feel the heat and humidity bearing down on you as our characters hunt for answers on this sparsely populated island. And in others, you can feel the darkness darkness and hostility of the environment. The fear and the unknown lurking in the shadows, where the actual fear is of the shadows themselves. The shadows as well, I should point out, these are our monsters, these are our villains, these shadows, these doppelgangers, and they are intimidating. They make it fairly clear from the beginning that on a one-on-one fight, a human doesn't stand much of a chance at all. They're faster, stronger, more agile, they can do things that we just can't imagine doing. And that makes for a imposing villain, on top of the fact that they could be anybody. It's a type of villain that robs any sense of security that you might have. And as the story goes on, that sense of hopelessness just seems to build for me. No spoilers are going to be told in this video, but my god, does it just ratchets up and up to ways that I don't know what they're going to do. Summertime Render is one of my favorite anime of the season. I talked about this in my Spy Family video. If I had to pick between the two, I don't know if I could. They're both so good. There are only a few negative points to Summertime Render, which I'll get into, but again, I want to preface this by saying these are not make or break for them. I feel like this anime is a must-watch for anyone who is even mildly interested in thrillers, mildly interested in murder mysteries. Absolutely, you should give this anime a shot. Though I will say, I did find the amount of fan service a bit unsettling. Also the fact that Shinpei's love interests through the story are both his adopted sisters. Now while Ushio from the beginning of the story is dead, there's clearly romantic feelings that existed between Shinpei and Ushio when she was alive, and Mio has an obvious crush on her older adopted brother, which is, it's really giving me Sword Art Online vibes. Then like, I get it, they are adopted, they are not blood related in any kind of way, and Shinpei was adopted when he was older, like, 8 or 10 probably, at an age where he would always understand that these are not his real siblings. So I guess in a way you could kind of justify it here, but I don't feel comfortable justifying it because it's still weird that his only love interests in the series so far are both his sisters. It's a weird little complex that keeps coming up in anime, and like, I get it. This isn't the worst offender of it. Elfen Lied was way worse. Sword Art Online was way worse. But again, it's still something I'm gonna bring up. I'm uncomfortable with that. Also, the fan service is not as bad as other anime. Again, like the incest stuff, it's not as bad as other anime, Like, it could be a whole lot worse. Like, there's a panty shot here, a lingering shot on a character's butt here. It's not good. Like, it's very distracting, and I wish they wouldn't do it, especially on rewatches. I keep noticing it over and over again, like, okay, maybe don't sexualize the characters that much, kind of takes away from the murder mystery part of it, but again, it's not as bad as other anime, so if we're grading on a scale of anime, it's not that bad. If we're grading on a scale of, just a good story, I would prefer you not do that, but, the story itself, the narrative, the characters, the building of this whole atmosphere is still so good that it's not enough for it to actually bring the score of it down in my mind, or to even really caution people against watching this. I think if you're an anime watcher, you're not gonna bat an eye at any of the questionable things that happen in this anime. You may roll your eyes a little bit here or there, but it's nothing that's gonna, I think, make people turn off the show. Grading on a scale, it's fine. Would prefer it's not there, but it's fine. The biggest negative right now for this anime, and this isn't really the anime's fault itself, it's not the production team's fault about this one, it's the fact that you can't watch it anywhere. Well, not legally, at least. You see, this anime had its distribution rights bought up by a certain streaming service that has it currently in jail until whenever they feel like they're gonna actually release it. Now, you may be thinking, oh, it's Netflix. And no, surprisingly, it's not. This time it's Disney. Yeah, this is a Disney Plus anime, which is weird. It's really weird, especially now that I've watched the anime. It doesn't, it's still ongoing at the time of recording, but now that I've watched the anime, it really does not feel like something that should be on Disney Plus. This anime has blood, it has violence, it has fan service, as I mentioned earlier. It doesn't feel like something that would fit on the same platform that has Toy Story. Not to say, of course, that there isn't violent media on the Disney Plus platform. I mean, have you seen the ending of Tarzan? But this just feels like a step away, and especially in anime, like, why is Disney distributing anime now? Is that something that they're doing? I'm missing this here. Why is Disney getting involved in anime now? Like, there's the acquisition of Summertime Render. I don't know of a whole lot of other anime moves they're making, but I mean, they had that one game that came out recently in America, Disney Twisted Wonderland, which is like an Otome game, but Disney. I mean, that came out like 2 years ago in Japan, but still, They have a Disney Otome game. Like that's a little sus. Like it feels like Disney's trying to get into the anime market, and at least they're testing the waters right now. They're dipping their toes in there, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's frustrating because you don't see a lot of people talking about Summertime Render right now. Like, there are people talking about it, of course. If you're an anime fan, you're talking about it, you're watching about it. But you gotta be a little deeper into anime to be watching what's coming out, hearing the buzz, checking out things that aren't just on Crunchyroll or aren't just on High Dive or aren't just easily available on Netflix. And that extra level of commitment is difficult for a lot of people, understandably difficult, because a lot of people have busy lives. And finding a site that has a decent version of it online is frustrating, which is all a massive shame because this is an incredible show. This is one of the anime that it's near one of my anime of the year. Like it's one of my favorites so far. I am thrilled by every single episode that comes out, and I cannot wait to see what twists and turns come in the story. But my problem is that by the time it's all out, will people be able to get into it? Well, by the time that it's on Disney Plus, will it really be that relevant? Come on, Disney, stay out of anime. I don't need you in anime. I really don't. I really don't need you in anime. I really, really don't need you in anime at all. So if you want to find a real gem of the season, to find one of the best anime that is out right now, one of the best anime of this year, find a way to watch Summertime Render because it is absolutely worth your time. And episode by episode, week by week, you are going to be thrilled by what you're getting. Again, as the time of recording, it's still coming out. So just find a way to watch it. I highly recommend it. It is one of my favorite anime and I absolutely love it. Hopefully one day soon it will come out on Disney Plus and I can point to all of you and say, go watch it if you have Disney Plus or whatever. But for now, I'm not gonna say go and pirate it here because I would never say that. I would never say to do that. I'm a good person who never says to pirate anything. You need to give the corporations money. The corporations need your money. But yeah, give Summertime Render a shot. Give it a shot, even if it takes a little extra effort in finding it, or if you wanna wait till it comes on Disney Plus, whatever you wanna do. But when it happens, check this anime out and come back and tell me what you think. Or if you are watching it right now, tell me what you think. I would love to know who's watching this right now. How many people have actually been watching Summertime Render and enjoying it? It's an incredible show. But if you like this video, be sure to subscribe for more. Also check me out. I stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So go check me out on twitch.tv/coldcomplaints. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, a great night, or whatever it is you're having. And stay rad.